all the spaceships to Davenport. Prepare for a Divanarchy and interface with a couch in space. Space Couch is back! Ah! Oh, okay. So we're back. There's not. This is pre-recorded. We used to do these live. We're gonna figure that out. So don't freak out. We're sort of. It's an evolution in process, but right now this will be pre-recorded. It is Thursday, April 11th. Super excited about today's guest. We had a brief hiatus there, had to get all the space bugs off the nacelles and the space windshield and all that, and we're back. And we are brought to you today by a new sponsor. It is Liger Hawk Records. So new signing James Netterwald out of New Jersey has an album coming out on April 15th. I don't know what it's called, but I've really been checking out his stuff. It's really great, acoustic-y, electronic-y, with a dash of Weird Al, but sad at the same time. I don't know, it's great. Check that out. We'll have the link up at ligerhawkrecords.bandcamp.com. Bit more business. Might be rolling this into some sort of local Substack-y thing. We're going to figure that out, but I was really feeling the space itch, and so now we're back, man, and it feels good to be back, and it feels especially good to be back with today's guest. Me and my buddy from high school, Pat, were just yammering it up about how excited we were for this interview. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Steven from Hate Dept. What's going on, man?
I'm happy to be here, and this is fun for me.
Awesome,
This is the third time I've seen you in real life, so this is going to be a fun chat for sure.
Okay, yes, we've become friends and almost, well, we've met in real life, but we'll get into all that. We'll do the superhero origin story because we were you and I were talking on the internet, and you had told me the origin of the name of Hate Department, and Michelle broke in and said I've never heard this story. So I thought it would be a fun way to start. From when I know it's a complete hack. How'd you get the name? But I have an origin story for your origin story. So give me.
Awesome.
Well, so give me how did it come
about? So in my day gig, I used to drive to work. I lived in Southern California, so there was a commute, maybe over an hour, and I would listen to news radio, talk radio. And in 1992, the House check scandal broke, which is later known as Rubbergate. And it was basically the House of Representative kiting checks to the federal bank. And it was endless. It was kind of, it was the only thing that was in the news. It was just the State Department this, the State Department that. And it was kind of an inside joke to myself. I turned it into Hate Department because I just grew up kind of being so disgusted by authority and politicians and having so little respect for them. And it was bipartisan, both Republicans and Democrats were doing this almost equally. And the funniest part at the time was, I think it was Newt Gingrich. He thought he was gonna out the Democrats as the bad guys, and it turned out he and his friends had written just as many bad checks, and it was equally disgusting. And they all there was no penalties for any of them. And I know that if you bounced a check or even tried to kite checks with your bank, or if I did that with mine, we'd be in huge trouble. But they all
sniper scope.
They're above us.
Yeah.
And so Hate Department came from listening to the State Department talk about this scandal for years. It was a year, probably a year and a half that just went on
Okay.
and on. And so Hate Department was just my spin on the State Department and
Wow.
how
Okay. Yeah, I didn't. I
my
didn't. I just never knew it
my
was a State Department. So go ahead. I keep
yeah,
talking.
and so it was just my spin on how much I disliked
Very apropos. Love it. Thank you.
government.
Okay. Well, right.
Yeah,
Um, and so this project starts, and in my world line, um, in a pre uh, social, not pre-internet, but certainly way pre-social media world, um, it finding industrial bands was like a game. It was like a secret. Like, hey, I found another one. Like,
it was part of the fun, wasn't it?
it was part of the fun, right? Like, have you ever heard of leather strip? Like, we didn't know how to pronounce it, right? And
Yeah,
and then Hate Department just sort of knocked the door down with Release It. And I'm sure your story begins way before that, but that's where
sure.
you come into my world. So I was just wondering what your musical life was like pre and post the Release It bomb. Because for the listener, if you don't know, this was massive in industrial
Yeah,
world.
yeah. Yeah, Release It kind of uh, they put Hate Department on the map kind of commercially.
Okay.
Like we went from being a little industrial band. We
Right.
played to 40 to 80 people in Southern California, and I had toured quite a bit before
Mm-hmm.
Release It, but we were still small, and the genre, outside of Nine Inch Nails and maybe Marilyn Manson, if you wanted to drag that in,
Maybe. Yeah.
it wasn't really that big. I mean,
No.
Trent Reznor was certainly famous, but yeah, if you get on the radio, things happen. Good and bad things happen.
So
But
you're hitting like the radio, not
like real radio, yeah,
yeah.
like my perception of my I was wrong about this, but I had thought I had arrived when Release It was on the radio.
Okay. Right. Right. But it was
I yeah,
terrestrial radio was a different beast in
it
those
was,
days.
yeah, and it was hard to achieve, but 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 so yeah, so I named the band in 92, 93,
Right.
right? And then I recorded it one song under that name called More Like Me. And a guy named Chase at Reconstriction Records in San Diego,
Mm-hmm.
I think I sent him a cassette tape of it.
Nice.
And he heard it and he liked it and he started asking me questions. Chase and I were pretty close at that time. We talked on the phone. Now the parent of his label had punk bands like Blink 182, but at the
Wow.
time,
Yeah. Not
not the big Blink 182,
right.
but like the growing Blink 182. And so Chase kind of he had a lot of music knowledge. He was, and because he had a record label, what you just mentioned about finding bands and how fun it was, Chase was my go-to guy. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's how I discovered bands like Diatribe and
Yeah.
yeah, and even ChemLab. He turned me on to ChemLab,
Yeah.
and he directed me to a lot of collaborative stuff too. So this is making me miss people. Just having this.
Ah.
Yeah. The band prior to Hate Department that I was in, that was very similar to Hate Department. My best friend, who is now named Claire, Tom Chack. I remember when she handed me Rabies.
Nice.
Like we looked at Rabies together, and
Yeah.
I also Pretty Hate Machine. So we like it's cool. It's cool to discover music. I
It
mean,
is cool.
it's done differently now, but it was a special time. So anyway, so yeah, Chase got the cassette tape. He liked it. He asked if he could put a version of it on a compilation coming out called Rivet Head Culture. And
Yeah.
he put that song out, and it was pretty well received by his fan base. he talked me into making a record. I recorded 9 more songs, and he wanted the first crack at signing Hate Department. He asked if he could have first make the first offer, and he did. But there was a guy in San Francisco that had a record label called 21st Circuitry.
Yeah, I
Who,
remember that.
yep, he only had Exorcist, I believe, at the time,
Okay.
and I liked him. I just liked him. He was a DJ, and he was a very strange person, but reclusive, but hungry. And I appreciated um, his kind of gusto. So he got the first record, which is called Meet Your Maker. So that came out in 1994. And now, so I'll skip forward to Release It. Release It was on Restless Records. That was a major record label. But 21st Circuitry, and this is how and I believe that this circumstance of chance and luck still exists. The reason Hate Department's first record got any mention at all was because back then record pools used to exist. Magazines they would have charts in the back. Remember, they used to have charts.
Yeah.
And so one issue, I don't even remember what issue. It might have been Spin or something like that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The Spin called some random record store and said, "Hey, what are you playing?" And the person who happened to pick up the phone said, "Hate Department, 16 Volt," the likes of all of us, Acumen Nation, all these bands, these kind of bands that were our bands, underground bands. Nobody gave a shit about them. Our music was offending those people, but most people. But that's how kind of lucky I got. It was really just kind of like a chance,
like a phone call. Like it could have been guy could have been taking a piss or something, and
could it be and I think too, maybe like little indie record stores were a little different back then too, where a manager or a record store owner would let the employees or the stock people answer questions of that nature. But so I still think that exists. I think of the nature of going viral with a song. If you write a hook,
right,
and we both know people, I'm not going to mention any names, but we both know people who have written really good hooks. And despite what people might think of them personally, have gone viral. You hear those songs all over TikTok and all over YouTube. And it's just chance. People anybody, you can write a good hook. I can write a good hook. The Rats could write a good hook. And if it gets in the flow of the consciousness of what people are doing, you matter for 5 minutes. So
nice,
man. Then I toured a little bit with that first record, Meet Your Maker. 21st Circuitry added to their roster Erie Locke's first project.
Oh, wow.
Lux.
Oh, yeah.
Lux.
Oh, yeah. I remember Lux.
Yeah. We toured with them a little bit, and they were on the label. And I know they were recording Battery for a minute. I loved Battery too. But anyways, I started recording the second record pretty quickly because I was I was younger and I was less cautious about what I said,
Sure.
So I was already working on Omnipresent and 21st Circuitry. The truth is they just couldn't afford it. I had already gotten an offer from another, not a huge label, but Neurotic was a label that was a subsidiary of Lowrider Magazine. And in Southern California, Lowrider Magazine is a culture magazine. It's fucking huge.
Right.
And so they had money. They wanted Hate Department. So when they signed me, it was they helped me buy a van. Let's just put it that way. I bought a van to tour with, and I bought a little bit more gear.
Okay.
The exact same thing happened. New Power was a song that it got into a couple of DJ pools. It's not, you know what I mean? Like even at that time, guitar in electronic music wasn't that cool. It was kind of like I'm not saying it wasn't a cool song because it was kind of
It's
a cool
great. It's
song.
a great track. It's
Yeah, yeah. But you know what's weird about that one? I had no idea what the words were going to be. I knew what I was going to say in my mind, but when I pressed recorded, I just started ranting about ambiguous things.
Interesting.
Yeah,
For
no idea.
the listener, that take this in the spirit in which it's intended, but the lyrics to New Power, you have to read them a couple times because it's very, I want to say, poetic. It's not like a narrative or something like that.
Yeah, I had nothing written down.
It makes total sense that it was a stream of consciousness, if that's the
Yeah.
right word to use.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's sorry. I'm gonna
It's
have
all right.
a little bit of a moment because it's like
All right. Hey, Brian, same thing with Release It.
really.
No lyrics. I
You
knew
just-
I knew I was gonna say the word release it, but that little stumbling lyric that I got on it with his hand over your mouth.
Speak up with this hand over your mouth.
Kind of fumbled out, and I was like, "Oh shit, I need to keep that."
Real okay.
I just kept the track. Yeah.
Space Couch. There's always a moment in space culture. I'm like, oh my god, I'm glad I'm doing this. Like it, to have high school me know that both New Power and Release It were stream of consciousness recordings is amazing.
It's all just telling people to fucking trust yourself.
Sure.
Like, don't obey. Just don't do it. And it's just always been saying that in every way I could come up with. And sometimes, sometimes my finger was on the pulse, but other times I missed the mark, and that's good. That's good too, because I mean, it's kept me in check. You're getting your version of being kept in check, and so.
Well, I want to smash cut to a little bit to the present, and then to the back, because there's so many facets to the Seibold D20. This came out, I think, technically this year, in the year of our Dark Lord 2024. Black Center. This is so cool. I can't stop listening to this. I'm just gonna. This is a clip of track 1.
I've committed your violations, denied every human need for one last thrill. Kiss me here. No pride fails. Status symbol.
So that was Status Symbol off of off the new Black Center. Tell us a little bit about your involvement therein.
The relationship started very weird. It was a cold call.
Oh, really?
His singer just couldn't meet us a show that they had booked.
So that's you on vocals for the list.
That is me. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
So he Black Center had a previous singer, and they had a show booked with Combi Christ in Southern California.
Okay.
And Michelle and I we had been living in Indiana for a long time, and this guy John Bonnet contacted me and said, hey, could I pay you to come do this show as the singer? And I was just, I've done lots of work for hire stuff, but it was just so weird. I thought that sounds fun, and so I did it. I learned those songs, and we went. And, the hang was so nice. John is so interesting and so cool, and like his brand of industrial music is the stuff I still like. Like it's bubbly and really dancey, and
really cool.
And so, yeah, he gave me $100 to do the show, but also we became friends. Also, I got to mention his drummer. His drummer is a guy named Josh that is a monster. He's like he can do anything, like heavy metal, double kick. He's actually touring,
Cool.
but so yeah. And then he wrote a few instrumentals and asked if I would sing them. This was years ago,
Mhm.
and I sang 3 of them. I was shocked to hear Status Symbol a few months ago because it had been a long time,
Okay.
and and he, he was honest. He took a hiatus and was irritated that he took such a long hiatus. But when he sent me the mixes, I was, what I mean, I was touched and moved and all that stuff because I put more time and thought into those things, and he rose to the occasion. I love those tracks. Then all the new Black Center stuff's really good.
Cool. It's really good
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Everyone should check it out.
yeah. So yeah, he's great,
Okay.
and he's still going. I love that part.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we'll have to see if he wants to come on.
Yeah,
Tell me about Standalone. I saw you in Chicago. It was fucking awesome.
uh, yeah. I wanted to get away from this genre we're talking about. I wanted to do something that was kind of a little more along my roots from the Howard Jones pool. I wanted to do something maybe a little more still edgy but commercially viable, and the live metal clanking and drumming stuff was really just my idea of a gimmick because I am a drummer. That's where I started, was as a drummer.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Standalone was just you sort of one man banding it, but
One-man band, and then when I played live, I would take Ivan, the drummer from Hate Department, but he would do it to make it a stage show, But it was essentially just me and my most retro gear.
Okay. Yeah. It was.
Really if you've heard that record, it's live drums. I played live drums on it, but it's also it's like really loosely produced. I wanted it to sound kind of open and clunky, kind of maybe like the way I perceived old Devo records or something like that. Yeah, and I know the guy. I've known the guys from Negative Gain forever. I mean, Roger from the Kevorkian Death Cycle Connection back in the 90s.
Right.
And I sent that record around, but I think it was nice to talk to Roger, and I met Micah at one of that thing in Canada.
Kinetic?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we played that a bunch.
You did that, yeah. So yeah, you know what I mean? Like the signing to Negative Gain was kind of like a little group hug, more than it felt like a record signing, even though it was a business deal. It was just nice to connect with people that I knew and I liked, even though, I mean, again, they're kind of known for industrial music, but I was cool. With that.
Speaking of groups, tell us about, or not if you don't want to, your participation in industrial supergroup Pig Phase.
I already knew Martin from when he came through LA. I would see. I think I went to go see. I think I went to see Pigface. I met him then, so I already knew him. But he came out to the Ogre show when Ogre was touring from his first solo record. Hate Department opened on that tour, and Martin came out, and we actually talked.
Okay.
And on that tour, he said, I thought he was fucking with me, truthfully. I really thought he was joking with me. He said, come and do the Pigface tour with me. I just thought he was kidding. You know what I mean? I didn't believe him. And then when I got back.
Damn it. No, we can, sorry, go ahead. We can, no, I forgot that I'll leave this in the show, but I forgot that I quit my Zoom subscription, so it'll end in 10 minutes. We'll just pick it up from there. It's fine.
Oh,
that's
right.
That's the advantage to pre-recording.
That's nice.
So you think Mark's fucking with you?
I thought he was fucking with me. When I got back to California, somebody from his office called and said, "Hey, he was serious." And Martin had been on hiatus for a while. Pigface had not toured for a while, and he told me a little bit about it over the phone. And oh my God, that was. I mean, I've been pretty nervous a couple of times, but flying to Chicago to walk into a Pigface rehearse. I got off a plane to go to a Pigface rehearsal.
Wow.
Shit your pants nervous.
Really?
Like, yeah, really nervous. I mean, I walked into a room with Chris Connolly and Meg Lee Chin and Charles Levi. I mean, I mean, fucking gangsters. I mean, so I mean, you adapt really quick because a couple of things happen. Obviously, it's people. They're when you're about to do a tour, it's kind of warm and inviting, and everybody's supportive, and yeah, it was I did that tour, which is Preaching to the Perverted. Then the next tour, the payoff for me and my involvement with Pigface was meeting my wife. So nice. I met her. Nice. Yeah, she joined the next tour. Martin had signed her band called Voodoo, and he brought her on to tour as a singer. I was a singer and playing guitar too, and yeah, we became friends and kind of inseparable. We literally been wiping one another's nose for 20 years now. So yeah, Pigface is a really look at all the people that have been in there. I mean, like some of the biggest names of industrial music,
right,
and beyond, too. I mean, Flea. Everybody knows who Flea is, and he's played on.
Was he in Pigface? I know
that. He played on Dive Bomber.
Wow.
And now we've met. And another thing Pigface does to some degree. I mean, there's crumbling bridges behind Martin too, but a lot of people that have been in Pigface come to the shows, so you get to kind of meet different generations of
industrial menudo.
Absolutely. So you make those handshakes too. That was fun. You meet people from Throbbing Gristle. And
nice.
It's pretty crazy.
Well, speaking of connections, and we'll see if we get cut off in Zoom craziness. Well, oh yeah, I mean not Zoom, space problem, space. Like the Oort cloud is gonna, because I'm on a couch in space. And interference from galaxies. I didn't know that you were on the Information Society's "Don't Be Afraid" album. That's amazing.
Less of a cold call. Kurt, do you know much about him?
I've never met him or nothing, but like I'm at 1 degree of separation away from
top 3 weird people I know.
Okay, really.
He's in the top 3.
All right.
He was looking for a producer for his own record. I mean, Kurt's not. He loves Information Society, and also one of my favorite things about him is that he loves the band, like his core members there. He really respects them and loves them, but he likes darker music. He likes outside music. I mean, he one of his favorite bands is Fetus, and so really? He's not. Yeah, he's not like synth pop maybe his thing, but he also likes to really push the envelope. And he was looking for, I believe, I'm not positive on this, but I believe he had contacted Spawn Ranch to do their record, and they weren't available. I think maybe it would have been Matt Green. They weren't available, so I was the next person on the list. Yeah. And he called me, and I was really I was super busy because I ran a recording studio down there in Southern California. And it was this, when I say recording studio, this was like the laundry room of an apartment complex that I rented out to the landlord. I mean, but I was still busy. I mean, I was a music director for another pop act that was making waves again and stuff. So I said yes, and we agreed on a price. And he drove that car that's on the cover of Hack.
Yeah.
He drove that fucking down to San Clemente and parked in front of me.
No way. Oh, that's hilarious. If
and the cops, it wasn't cool. Like, it was fine. But
if you don't know what we're talking about, picture the most Mad Max gun turret insanity post-apocalyptic car. and he drove that to like just pick you up.
San Clemente, like a my little beach town in Southern California.
And the cop showed up.
Oh, many times.
Okay.
Actually, I think I have another good Kurt story too. He like lived there basically for like 6 weeks, and he was really into a video game called Descent.
Oh yeah.
Remember? Okay. I'm not a gamer. Please don't.
You're fine.
Keep your couch away from me. But he played Descent a lot. Well, because he had the songs and a lot of the song structure, and I just kind of produced them and added to them, and we really worked well together. Even though he's a weird guy, I'm famous for being pretty affable with just about everybody in every direction. So we got along very well, and I love Kurt. He's a strange dude, though. Yeah. So yeah, that record was, for an information society, really stuck out because it's dark.
It's bizarre, but it's still information society. But it's
his voice plays everything together. He's just got such an amazing voice, and he makes things ugly and beautiful in a really unique way. You know what I mean? Nobody treats guitars that I've played like him. He'll sample them and play them up 2 octaves and down 2 octaves.
Wow, okay.
He's quite a sound designer. So information society.
That's it.
What really fun.
We're gonna run into some space interference in just a second.
I have to add this because I assume you're going to have some Kurt InSoc fans, because I have another hilarious story about.
By all means.
He contacted me. This was much more recent. I'm just going to say this was in the last 4 or 5 years. And Kurt's from the Midwest. He grew up, I think it was Michigan, and he remembers the Edmund Fitzgerald tragedy when the boat sank on the lake. So, and that song, the song was so popular. He asked me if we could do a cover of it, and I was like, "Oh my God, yes!" So he flew out to Indiana and stayed with us. Played video games with Michelle. We worked on that song together. That was really nice because we had a lot of years of friendship under our belt. But one of the he was a sheriff's deputy, right? One of the town sheriff's deputies was a huge information society fan.
Really?
And a friend of ours.
Okay.
Like Michelle and I volunteered for just about everything we could, for the animal shelter and the military museum. So we met a lot of people in that capacity. So this deputy friend found out that Kurt was coming to stay with us and really wanted to meet him. And he was like, just couldn't believe that it was even happening. And he called us one day. I remember it as he saw Kurt roller skating down the newly paved road out into the cornfields, because Kurt liked to go out and roller skate. Like I said, he's a strange cat. I love him, but he's a strange cat. And this friend of ours, Matt, he was a deputy, wanted to arrest him just as a joke, so he could hang out with Kurt Harlan and tell his cop friends that he got to arrest.
Oh my God, this is the best.
We kind of had to talk Matt out of it, where I had to say, I mean,
a sheriff's deputy wanted to fake arrest information society when they were roller skating through a cornfield
in the middle of Indiana.
Yeah. I want that on a T-shirt. Just that. Amazing.
Yeah, if you make one for him, because Kurt would love that too.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna smash cut to this because I feel like we should at least fly over this, and you can speak to this as much as you want. But there was at one point a Hate Department gig planned for Milwaukee, and that did not happen. Would you like to address that at all here?
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody, a promoter that I've worked with many times in and out of Chicago, contacted me about a Josh Russo memorial show that at the time when he first put it to me was to be Hate Department supporting Stabbing Westward. And my quick answer for show offers for Hate Department lately has just been no. I just kind of in a different space. But I loved Josh. Josh loved you. He loved everybody that was on that bill.
Josh
we all
no longer, for the listener, Josh.
Yeah, Josh
mutual fan
has left us.
No longer here.
But the cause was strong. The bill was really sound. Well, many months passed, and then that promoter said, things have changed. Here's the new bill. These is meaning the new artists that would be on the bill. And I was a lot less comfortable, but I still just hung in. I hung in. And then we'll just skip forward to you. Brian was met with quite a bit of blowback from a guest he had on Space Couch, and your life got. You and I. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. None of that shit. But I reached out to you because the blowback on you seemed dangerous to anybody. It was dangerous for your soul. And so you and I started messaging, it was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen was to look through, but we were acquainted through Facebook, was to look through your photos and your acquaintances and see you with all of these people that were really dogpiling you, smiling, hanging out with, performing with, and not just those people that were being so hard on you, but I mean, your social media presence is very profound still. And you hung out with everybody. And I invited you into Hate Department, right? That's kind of how it was. I was like, it was kind of like, I kind of reached out over the pond with a stick and I said, just hang on to this stick. Because I know you're fucked.
It got really dark, and then it was like, hey, you want to be in your favorite band from high school?
Do you think if I hadn't said anything to the promoters and you hadn't said anything, if we had just showed up at the event, it would have been smoother than me having made it known that you would be playing with me?
Well, let's just catch the audience up. My potential, correct me if I misspeak, but my erstwhile or potential involvement as part of Hate Department for this gig is essentially why Hate Department was no longer on the bill.
Yeah, that was so right. That's what happened is the promoters were not comfortable with you being a part of Hate Department. They consulted with other bands that were on the bill, and they
I think it was the right move. Like, to answer your question, like, if I just like showed up and I was like, new power, like it would have been distracting from the purpose of the event, which was to
I kind of
go on.
I mean, we're not tight, but I thought you would say that. I think I agree with you. I probably agree with you on that. I mean, I think if you or I were in their position, we might have done the same thing. I mean, if it was an event for Josh to raise money for XYZ, I'm not gonna pretend that I'm not gonna pretend that I'm pissed off, because I'm not. I'm disappointed. I wanted to hang out with, you in this capacity, us on a more friendly basis. I wanted to see my core guys, Nick Mead and Ivan, are two of the best people I know. When I told them about this, they were concerned about you. they're just fucking good people, and I wanted to hang out with them and play music. And I love people who like Hate Department. I've got a fan base, and I'm super lucky to have it. So I'm disappointed, but I understand. Even the people who I heard that there was threats by the bands to drop off the bill if you and I showed up together or whatever. Okay, that's disappointing on a maturity level, but they get to exist. I don't give a fuck. I mean, am I supposed to act like this is a big deal?
Yeah.
I'm disappointed. It's not.
Yeah.
But we're gonna carry on. You're gonna carry on. I'm gonna carry on.
I mean, it was a trying time. You know, the prospect of being in Hate Department was enough to really carry me through a lot. So.
Oh, we're gonna yeah. So there's no blowback for anybody else from that show, but some people have heard about that and heard about the reason, and they've already reached out to me, and I'm already getting the inquiries to come play and have you be a part of it. So you know what I mean? It's not so much like, I mean, that gets into my politics. I love the conflict. That's what I live for. So it's never going to be smooth between the left and the right. It's not going to happen. But there's people that principally don't like what a lot of people call cancel culture. It makes them sick. And so I'm hearing from those people, and some of them are in a promoter capacity. So if we can,
exclusive, yeah.
if I end up saying yes, it has to fit into my world.
Sure.
But yeah, but we're gonna get a chance. We'll play. So we'll play.
Well, I'm gonna be jumping around on planetoids here.
That's
we
cool.
Go off on that, but this is also the return of Space Couch, and so I want to do some back to our features. This is big for me because I haven't done one in a long time. Hypothetical spectacle. So we have a few stock questions here on Space Couch, and I'm going to be self-indulgent because I'm dying to know what the musical influences for the mighty Steven Seibold might be. 4 of your musical influences have decided to rob a bank. I need to know, in this bank robbery that they're all planning, your 4 musical influences, who's going to be the getaway car driver, the smooth operator, like face man kind of guy, the high tech like guy in the chair, like he hacks the cameras or whatever, and then like the old school safe cracker with like the stethoscope and the mask. So what do you got?
So am I in with these 4, or is it just
no rules, man? We're in space.
Okay, I'm gonna go getaway driver first, right?
Yeah, or whoever.
Bjork.
Okay, Bjork is driving the getaway car. Love it. Bjork is an influence, really. Yeah, I can hear it. Like that Army of Me, kind of like that.
Yeah, and you know what? Also, more than our music, I'm really specific about the Bjork stuff I like, because a lot of it I don't. But the stuff I like, I love, and more than that, I like her personality.
So if she was like driving away, she would like cut off motherfuckers.
Oh, she'd make her own roads, and if we were going to get caught, it would be kamikaze shit. None of us would live. It would be like,
yeah.
I would appreciate that level of commitment to the art form of robbing a bank, because I see her that way. You know what I mean?
Perfect answer.
Wait, help me out.
Then like the smooth operator or the face man, like who goes like into
Prince.
Yes. Sorry, I'm a giant Prince fan.
Could was there a better talker? Was there a sexier dude? Was there a better musician?
Just charm the money out, like with the eyes, right? Oh man.
Oh my God! Talk about an influence. Holy shit! Yeah, he was a huge influence on me, especially in the early days.
In terms of like attitude or musically or what?
Musically, yeah.
Yeah, just using like the keyboards as a
Especially
bass line,
before,
or
yeah, keyboards as a bass line,
yeah.
doing everything yourself,
Uh-huh.
um,
Yeah, I mean
telling the
drummers
industry to eat a dick. I mean,
totally.
he was such a punk rock guy.
Yeah.
He was really, yeah,
I could
he's
talk about Prince for the rest of the
yeah, me
the
too, me too.
but we need to know the high tech guy.
Fuck.
Could be you.
How about Vince Clarke
Yes.
or Thomas Dolby's? Because really, Vince Clarke, I really loved Vince Clarke for Yaz.
Yeah.
Crazy about him. Not so much Depeche Mode, but as Yaz, that was his best shit for me because I loved
Totally.
Alison Moyet and but Thomas Dolby too because Thomas Dolby
They
is
can work
so
together.
smart, so smart. I mean, Thomas
Oh, he's
Dolby,
great.
holy
That-
shit, man.
Have you ever seen him like live when he does like the evening with
Yeah.
Thomas Dolan? It's so good.
Building up tracks in front. Oh my god,
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw him in Milwaukee when there's this tiny, tiny bar. Oh, it's great. And yeah,
like him and his band, they'd play all those 16th note parts in
Yeah.
chord, play
oh,
it live.
he would hack those cameras inside and
Sure,
out.
yeah.
And then who is the old school safecracker with the stethoscope?
Mark Mothersbaugh.
Yes. Oh, we have very aligned musical tastes, I must say. Oh,
It seems
yeah.
like that seems like the gig he would have too.
Oh yeah, with just the Coke bottle glasses, you could like see through the safe anyway.
He's blind. He's blind now.
Is he blind? I didn't know that.
He's legally blind now. Yeah.
I didn't know he was. So he would have to hack the safe.
I used to drive by that. He bought that building. He bought this circular building in Hollywood. Like
Okay.
I don't know what it used to be. Maybe it looked like it might have been some kind of fancy restaurant or a bank or something. Very unusual circular bank. Well, he bought that and he does all of his. I don't
That's
know.
amazing.
Yeah, he's a very interesting guy. A genius.
The perfect answer. We got
Okay.
Bjork driving the car. Prince is the face man. And possibly the best answer to that question ever. Vince Clarke and Thomas Dolby team up on the cameras, and
Yes.
and Mark Mothersbaugh cracks the safe. Love it. Speaking of influence, you did some wonderful production work on my own album recently, Penicillin and Move to Knoxville, the standout tracks on that album. I was wondering if you how you approach production in a workflow, or if there's like do you have like a do you always start with the bass line, or is there even like a higher like
It kind of depends because I do electronic music, but I do a lot of kinds of music. I make rock stuff. I mix a lot of different types of music. With this genre, though, I tend to start with like if I was doing live sound, I start with the kick drum. I shape the bass lines into the kick drum. I shape all of the auxiliary percussion into that stuff and synthesizer parts. I always leave the vocals for last, but something I do differently too for this genre is I leave lots and lots of headroom. Okay. So I mix quiet, like
right.
You know, when we're all lighting up the LED faders. I keep them in the middle because okay. I know since this genre and this sound is so bombastic and full and kind of aggressive, I know that it's really easy to eat up
totally
that bandwidth with distortion. Really,
right.
Like you've put a distortion on a few things,
it's
and
like four things in the song.
I'm out of room.
Totally.
Yeah. So and I mean, your stuff is included, but I tend to mix a lot of stuff that has a lot of layers and tons of tracks and stuff like that. So I mix a lot of times. Even mastering people send me these long, loving messages because when I send them mixes, there's lots of room to go up. You know what I mean? I try to. We all love loud mixes, but
so mix in the mids, everybody.
Yes.
And we're gonna bring this. We're on a rogue flight path out here in space, and we're gonna bring this flying couch back on into the station shortly. But I listen to space chatter out here, just sort of background radiation, and we picked up some EVP about a possible pseudonymous project that might be in the works.
Yeah. So kind of like with standalone, I've tried to distance myself from this genre. There's a handful of bands that I like. I really kind of like what Wolfman does, but a lot of my taste in music has changed over the last couple of years. If I write and create under a pseudonym and never tell anybody what it is, if I don't tell you what it is, if I actually don't ever tell Michelle can keep a secret. I won't ever really get dragged into the social politics of it. You know what I mean? I could be.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Of course you do. Well, we all do too. We all get our share of it, but it's not so much that I don't want to disassociate from the genre, but I find it to be a little claustrophobic to not be able to say what I or fear that what I say or I mean, the lid's off. I've admitted that I'm an anarchist. I did that just this year on a podcast.
I mean, you're talking to me. That's like,
yeah, I know. Well, what do I have to fear? I don't. I'm not good. But at the same time, I do make music for myself, but I also make it for other people. So I wouldn't want to wave the flag before anyone even listens to it that I'm on some crusade to upend American politics. That's just not important. Music is important. Art is important. Relationships are important. And I feel that working in another genre, I'll just say what the genre is. It's more trap. It's hip hop.
Cool.
And there's tons of hip hop out there that's that I think a lot of industrial people from our genre would really dig if they gave it a chance. But at the same time, I don't care if they do or not. If I write under a pseudonym and release music, if I do this, no, it's not about how great I am or my swagger. I'm not into that. But yeah, I am actively doing it.
So that's so exciting. Okay. We'll wrap it up here unless you have any final thoughts for space.
No, I'm glad you did this.
All right. Well,
I'm glad it was fun. Nice to talk to you again.
Big for me, not only to come back, but to talk to the mighty Hate Department. All my high school selves are freaking out. So, ladies and gentlemen, call the spaceship to Davenport. Prepare for it of anarchy and interface with a space. Wait, I screwed it up. Call the spaceship to Davenport. Prepare for it of anarchy and interface with conscious space. This is Brian for Space Couch, for Steven, for Hate Department. We will catch you later. And we're out. I used to have extra minutes, but I haven't figured out. Yeah, well,